Every morning in a small Egyptian village, while others started their day before sunrise, Cooper remained sound asleep. He would wake around noon, stretch lazily, and wait for his wife to bring him breakfast from Jack's shop. Jack, the shopkeeper and Cooper's friend, never asked for payment. He had been generous for years, giving Cooper free food without complaint. But one morning, Jack's patience finally wore thin. He woke at dawn as always, opened his shop, and watched the village come alive with workers and farmers. Then he thought of Cooper, still sleeping peacefully in his bed. Anger bubbled up inside him. Why should he keep feeding a man who did nothing all day? Jack decided enough was enough. When Cooper's wife came to the shop later that morning, Jack gave her a firm message. He was building an extra room beside his house and needed help moving heavy rocks from the quarry. If Cooper wanted more free food, he would have to work for it. Cooper's wife hurried home and told her husband what Jack had said. Cooper groaned and shook his head. Those rocks were far too heavy for him to carry. He looked at his wife with calm eyes and said what he always said when faced with work. If God wants to give, He will give, and when He does, He will push it right through the door. There was no need to worry about anything. After sipping his ginger tea, Cooper dressed and went out for a peaceful walk up the hill, leaving all thoughts of work behind. The morning air was fresh, and Cooper admired the clouds drifting across the sky. Suddenly, he heard desperate shouts behind him. He turned and saw a horse racing toward him, completely out of control. An elderly man with long white hair sat on the horse, pulling the reins and shouting, but the animal would not stop. Without thinking, Cooper stepped forward, grabbed the reins with both hands, and brought the wild horse to a halt. The old man climbed down, breathing heavily. He looked at Cooper with grateful eyes and said that while most people rushed around all day accomplishing nothing, Cooper had been there exactly when he was needed. Cooper smiled humbly and replied that he simply tried to sleep well, eat well, and not worry too much. The old man studied him for a moment, then said he wanted to give Cooper a gift from God. Cooper looked confused. The old man explained that when God gives a gift to someone, only that person can truly receive it. He asked Cooper to follow him. They climbed higher up the hill until they reached a large rock. The old man pointed to it and told Cooper that beneath the rock were flowers, and beneath the flowers were wooden chests containing his gift from God. Cooper approached the rock and was surprised when it moved easily under his hands. He cleared away the flowers and discovered 4 wooden chests. His heart pounded as he opened the first one. It was filled with gleaming gold coins. He opened the second and third chests. All 4 were overflowing with gold. Cooper turned to thank the old man, but he had vanished without a trace. Cooper put a handful of coins in his pocket, closed the chests, covered them with flowers again, and rolled the rock back into place. The effort exhausted him, and he sat under a tree and fell asleep. When he woke, he wondered if the whole thing had been a dream. Then he stood up and heard a clinking sound. He reached into his pocket and felt the cold, hard coins. It was real. That evening, Cooper's wife took the gold coins to Jack's shop and bought eggs, lamb, rice, and coffee. Jack stared at the coins in disbelief. Where had Cooper gotten so much money? The wife invited him to their house the next afternoon to hear the whole story. When Jack arrived, Cooper told him everything. Jack could barely contain his excitement. Why had Cooper left the chests on the hill? Cooper explained he had no horses to carry them. Jack's eyes lit up. He would bring his horses that night, and they would retrieve all 4 chests together. Cooper could keep 2, and Jack would take the other 2. Cooper agreed easily and went back to enjoying his dinner. But as Jack walked home, a darker thought entered his mind. Why should he share the gold with Cooper? The horses belonged to him. Cooper would never be able to get the chests without them. Besides, Cooper would just waste the money on food and sleep. Jack, on the other hand, had plans. He would build a grand house and expand his business. By the time he reached his shop, Jack had made up his mind. He would take all 4 chests for himself. That night at 10 o'clock, Cooper was already asleep. His wife woke him and said Jack had not arrived yet. Cooper mumbled that he was probably just late and went back to sleep. At midnight, his wife woke him again, worried that Jack might be planning to steal the gold. Cooper told her it was too late to do anything now and fell back asleep. While Cooper slept peacefully, Jack climbed the hill with his horses and several men. They moved the rock, cleared the flowers, and opened the 4 chests. But instead of gold, they found only stones and dust. Jack was furious. He believed Cooper had tricked him. In revenge, he ordered his men to load the worthless chests onto the horses and dump all the stones and dirt in front of Cooper's door. The next morning, Cooper's wife tried to open the door but could not move it even an inch. Something was blocking it from outside. Cooper tried the window and managed to open it, just a crack. The moment he did, gold coins began pouring through the small opening, falling onto the floor in a golden stream. His wife stared in amazement. Cooper smiled and said he was hungry. How about a nice omelette? Later that morning, Cooper's wife returned to the shop with more gold coins. She bought new clothes and more food, then placed 10 coins in front of Jack. She thanked him for coming the night before and said he had given them far more than half. Jack's face turned pale. He stammered that it was not him. Cooper's wife insisted it must have been because who else would leave all that gold at their door? Jack fell silent. Finally, in a quiet voice, he repeated the words Cooper always said. If God wants to give, he will give. And when he gives, he will push it right through the door.